Hey everybody, it's Steve Knight, and we're getting ready here. We've got a brand new episode of The Night Shift along with...
I'm Brandon Valentine, Executive Director and founder of the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah, a lot to get to with this guy, including the fact that, he's still an active musician and everything that's going on with the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame. It's coming at you right now on The Night Shift.
The Central Pennsylvania Youth All-Star Band's version of The Who's Baba O'Reilly. They recorded this last year, but somehow in the last day or so, Roger freaking Daltrey got to see it. I don't know how that happened, but he did. These are incredible times that we live in. Anyway, here's Roger Daltrey's review of The Who's Baba O'Reilly from the Central Pennsylvania Youth All-Star Band.
Hi, it's Roger Daltrey here, and I have just seen the most amazing video of the Central Pennsylvania All-Star Band playing Barbara O'Reilly. And I've got to tell you, I am really impressed. I just love the way it's filmed is really good, but the music you're playing and the characters in it, every one of you, your personalities are coming out. You're singing from the heart, and it shows. It's wonderful. Your ending is really original, and I loved it.
Are you freaking kidding me? Roger Daltrey. I mean, does it get any more legendary than that? It really doesn't. Who would have thought that you'd record this amazing song, which is one of my all-time favorite songs. Anyway, it's my ringtone, for crying out loud. The beginning of Baba O'Reilly is my ringtone. And then to have actually the most legendary frontman in all of rock give his seal of approval. Way to go, guys. Central Pennsylvania Youth All-Star Band. Addie Grace, Amani Weary, Carmine Gantz, Noah Gibney, Faith Noel, Alex Lee Warner, Levi Dickinson, Ethan Valentine. Absolutely incredible job. And that's something they will never forget. By the way, if you haven't seen the video, go check it out on YouTube. Just search Central Pennsylvania Youth All-Star Band. It's all part of the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame. So way to go there.
Welcome back to another edition of The Night Shift. I'm joined by the guy who is the Executive Director and the founder of the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame, Mr. Brandon Valentine. Brandon, thank you for spending some time with us here on The Night Shift.
Thank you for having me. This is a gorgeous set here. I love it.
Yeah, so a lot to get to. I appreciate you making the time to hang out with us here today. A lot to talk about. But, a lot of people obviously know you from the work that you do with the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame.
Sure.
Obviously, you've got the local show with Glenn Hamilton,
right?
Where we can hear you every week on the river. Mm-hmm. But, you're a drummer by trade.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, and, you're still out there, you're active, applying your trade. So, I know you play a little bit of guitar and some other instruments as well, but why the drums and when did that start?
Yeah, I think, for me, it was always that moment where I think it's, the end of fourth grade where they bring the instruments around in elementary school and they
Thank
say,
goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's a great program, you know. They bring them around, they see kind of what you're into, what inspires you, and I always remember that moment because for me it was between the cello or the drums. Mm-hmm. And I was really leaning towards cello, so who knows? I may have, moved to upright bass or something and been a bass player.
Right, yeah. Turn the cello and it becomes a bass.
Exactly, yeah. And heck, it was probably the size of me to be an upright bass at that time. But I went with the drums, so that was probably about 11 years old. Started out with the snare drum, moved into the full set right when I was probably about 12 or 13. And been rocking ever since. Was in a lot of high school bands and college bands. And
did you do drumline in the high school
I
band?
I did that for 2 years. Yep.
Yeah.
Played snare and tenors. Played in jazz band. Did the musical as well. So it's always been a prominent part of my life for sure. And when I had kids actually, and they were really young, was the area of time where I was like, all right, I got to take a break from this. And man, did I miss it. It was, for me, it's a creative itch that continually needs scratched, and the Hall of Fame being a super involvement in the local music scene. But as you stated, I think it's important to still be a member of the scene, gigging places and performing and still writing songs and having fun for sure.
So, what did your parents think of you becoming a drummer? Were they supportive? Were they like, the cello's not quite as loud in the house?
Right. Yeah, that was always a factor,
Yeah.
how loud it is in the house for sure, especially when I got the full drum set.
Yeah.
I don't think they steered me one way or the other. I think if anything, my dad never formally played any instruments.
Right.
But he was the one who was always, drumming along on the steering wheel, in the car. Listened to a lot of 50s music with him, 50s, 60s, 70s, I should say. My mom was more, 80s, 90s, I think, at that point. So I got a broad spectrum of musical history from both of them, but I think I probably leaned towards the drum because that seemed to be what my dad gravitated towards. So then I ended up, playing Wipeout on the dashboard as a kid, So,
yeah.
Makes sense.
Drummers that were big influences for you?
Yeah, for me, it definitely went back more into the jazz era, especially when I was growing up, because I really enjoyed being in jazz band in middle school and high school.
Yeah, so like Gene Krupa.
100%, yes.
Yeah.
I'd say Gene Krupa, Buddy Rich, Louis Bellson, Max Roach. Man, the list goes on. I've always enjoyed listening to their stuff. And
do you still?
Still do, yeah. Most of my listening power ends up being local music at this point.
Right, sure.
But yeah, I definitely like to go back and listen to some old school jazz, especially some of the Buddy Rich stuff. I'd say he's probably the most influential, and naturally then it migrates into rock and roll drummers, Neil Peart and man, you name it, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I also collect all the drummers' autographs too, so try to have a collection of signed drumsticks or what have you, the best of the best for sure.
Yeah. So you play in bands like coming out of high school, and when was there ever a time when you thought that this is what I'm going to do professionally? Did you ever have a band that you thought we're going to really, like we all do when we're 18, 19, 20 years old? Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever had that moment of like professionally.
Yeah. It was always just kind of fun and enjoyed being part of the scene.
Yeah, it was more the hobby kind of thing.
Right.
The band I was in high school, we were called the One Hand Clappers.
Okay.
And the reasoning behind that is everybody in the band could clap with one hand. Right, so obviously this is a video podcast, so I got to do it now, right?
I don't know if you're an Anthrax guy, but there's a line in an Anthrax song that talking to you is like clapping with one hand.
Okay, there you go.
I always thought that was clever, but
so
anyway.
That's it. So you got to clap with one hand.
Yeah, right. We can all do it.
That's how it works. Right?
Yeah.
So everybody in the band could do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that band, was more. We were 16, so it was very hard to get a gig. We played in some bands in college too, but the focus was always on the studies and the full-time job. And for me, it was always more of again how to scratch that creative itch on the side and kind of keep it as a hobby.
Right.
The one band I've been in for a long time is Mountain Road. We
Yeah.
kind of do country, southern rock, classic rock kind of vibe. And that band probably had the biggest reach for
curve,
potential, right?
Yeah.
Lead singer tried out for The Voice, made it through a couple rounds.
Yeah.
We traveled to Nashville and played.
Right.
Opened up for a lot of national acts, and that was when we were all, in our 20s, I guess. So that was the moment where it could have happened, I guess.
Yeah.
But at this point, I filled in on drums in a lot of bands and just enjoyed playing out anywhere. Still get to travel too. Played in Vegas recently, in Austin and Nashville. But yeah, it's all about the side gig versus the focus, because making it is tough in the industry for sure.
Right, married with teenage kids.
You got it.
I
Yep.
get it, man. Yeah, yeah.
For sure.
Full-time dad.
Yep.
Very, very part-time musician.
That's right.
Having
Yep.
fun. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very
Not to
cool.
mention the full-time job and the
not to
focus
mention the
on
full-time
the
job.
nonprofit with the Hall of Fame too.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's a great transition for us. So, let's talk about that, because where did the kernel of the idea of what has blossomed and taken off as the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame? I'm gonna guess we're talking 7 to 8 years ago, or does it go back even further? Did you start to have this idea of a way that we could celebrate the local music scene?
Yeah, that's probably exactly correct. I think if I had to put a time on it, I would say it was probably around 2017, where I was at least talking with some people and saying like, hey, what do you think about this? Because again, being a member of the local music scene, right, in the band Mountain Road, that was pretty much the only band I was in there. Again, I'm a drummer, and wrote some songs in the band as well. We'd perform out, and we'd constantly kind of get the request, I think, from acts that would open up for us or acts that we would play with is like, how did you guys get a gig booked here? Or like, how did you guys end up going to Nashville? Or how did you get the opening slot at the I-105 Fall Fest? Or anything like that. And that band is such great guys, right? We're all willing to help out. We're all willing to have a conversation with people. And I think it kind of naturally lended into this mentorship of the local music scene, even just being in the band, of trying to assist some of the up-and-coming acts, artists, bands, whatever it is. And it was kind of like there's an unmet need here, and to some extent of like somewhat mentorship, but also shining a bigger light on the music scene. And there's been a lot of things over the years that, we certainly didn't do anything groundbreaking. Millennium Music Conferences was a huge influential thing. Launch Conference, there's
Shout
been
out
so
to John
many
Harris.
things.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
there's been so many different things that have really turned the music scene into what it is today before we even started.
Right.
But it was something a little bit out of the box conceptually, was like, we need to recognize who came from this area.
Yeah. And
even when I had that kernel of a thought, right, in 2017 to 2018 or whatever it was, I myself knew of like 10 acts. I was thinking like, okay, Fuel and Live and Hailstorm and, Poison and Taylor Swift, like those acts came from this area. And that was kind of my limited knowledge to say there's enough here that we have historically had a hotbed of talent come from this area from 70s, 80s, 90s.
Right.
And once I dug a little bit further, realized how really deep the rabbit hole goes from talent. There's one act we haven't inducted, or one artist, I should say, or composer even. There's a guy named Roland Seitz who was popular. I think he was either in his heyday in like the early 1900s, right? And he was an inspiration for John Philip Sousa.
Wow.
Right? And was like Southern York County. So it goes back, pre-1900s as his date of birth. Up to today, and we've had 36 members inducted into the Hall of Fame already, and the ballot of consideration is still upwards of 70 to 100. So there's just such a vast musical heritage that needs recognized, and really that was the goal at the point, was how do we shine the light on what has happened in the past, and then it's kind of morphed into what it is now, with focuses on the present being the local music scene with the award show, and then even the future with the focus that we do with kids too.
Right, yeah. We'll talk about the whole past, present, future, and that whole, almost that triumvirate of what you're doing with the Hall of Fame coming up. But so, I'm just curious because, look, I've worked with a lot of organizations and a lot of nonprofit organizations, and I've worked for some, and these things are tough to launch. They're tough to get off the ground. It is such, the world is so cluttered without having a marketing specialist right off the ground. Like, how do you get your brand messaging across? How do you get across? So, correct me if I'm wrong, but 2019,
correct.
You established.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. So, what was that process like, actually getting it established and getting a logo and I'm going to do this? Yeah. What was that like from idea to 2019?
It was fun. I've always kind of had the entrepreneurial spirit, right? Of like, what could I start, that could be something successful? Yeah. And really, day one was like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start investing some money. And for me, it was like low risk, because I think I started it with like $1,500. I want to say. Yeah. That was establishing a website. Sure. You had to file it as a nonprofit organization.
401c3.
Legal fees. Yeah, exactly.
It goes to the state. I don't think people realize you got to get approval from the state.
100%.
There's a process.
A lot of paperwork.
A lot of paperwork.
A lot of that had to be done up front, and put the money in. And I think it was within 3 months we had already had our money back from sponsorships to say like, this is a great idea and we're going to do this. Yeah. So I kind of figured at that point, like, all right, that there is an unmet need here. And like you said, it was kind of blossomed as an idea in like 2017. We fully realized it and started, turning the wheels in 2019. 2020 was our first ceremony. Right. But even talking to people through the 2017, 2018 realm was like, do you think this would be a good idea? Getting some feedback. There's a lot of people that was like, I don't get it. I think it's stupid. It's not going to work. The I don't get it was the predominant theme up until our first ceremony, right? Where we sold out. We had it at the Whitaker Center, and no one knew what to expect. No one knew if it was going to be, a laughing stock or something serious.
You and the board and every band, and that's it. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Right. Yeah. And I remember having that conversation, sitting down with the Whitaker Center, as we were planning. All right, we're going to book the venue here to hold our first event.
Well, and not to interrupt you, but that took some cojones, because it's not like you could have easily said, you know what, and no offense to the West Shore Elks, but you could have easily gone, we're going to go West Shore Elks.
Sure.
It holds about 350 people.
Right.
And if we sell out, great, then we know to go big. You go to the Whitaker Center for the very first ceremony. I mean, good on you, man. Yeah.
But I remember having that conversation where they're like, our max capacity is, I think it was like 700 or 800 or something.
Yeah.
And I remember literally saying the words like, look, we're a nonprofit. We're just getting started. Like, if we put tickets up for sale and we sell 30 tickets, like, are we going to be bound to pay for the full house, or how's this going to work? And they were very gracious with us because we didn't know if it was going to be successful.
Sure.
And year one sold it out. Year two sold it out. Year three had to move to a bigger venue. So it's been exponential growth year over year. But like you said, that seed started, and it's I think the success out of the gate, despite all of the tough parts of trying to start a nonprofit and go through that process, is the scene needed recognition, and they've been here for it since then, right?
Yeah.
So we have the trust of the local music scene because they know what we're about now. It's not is this going to be, a joke or something? It is. It is seen as our local Grammy ceremony virtually.
Yeah, totally, without question. So, full transparency, I'm the first person to admit and say that I'm wrong, but I had this conversation with our mutual friend Glenn Hamilton,
right?
And I remember him telling me about it, and my initial reaction was, I really
don't get it, right? Yeah.
And he looked at me and he said, Glenn, he goes, dude, they booked the Whitaker Center for this first, awards ceremony, and he goes, it's like 30 tickets away from being sold out. And I was like, you're kidding.
Right.
Yeah. That was my reaction. Look, I'm not going to BS you, man. Like my initial reaction, and this is, I grew up here. I've been in the music scene my entire life here. I'm happy to admit and tell you that I was wrong. I did not see the vision that you had.
Sure.
And all credit to you,
Thank you.
for doing this and turning it into what it has turned into, which is amazing.
Yep.
Absolutely amazing. It's amazing how it's taken off. I can just tell you from my perspective at CBS 21, I'm so impressed because we get press releases from you guys.
Right, exactly.
And you guys are doing it as professionally as any other organization that's out there, getting your branding and messaging across.
We try,
Yeah. So you have that first ceremony at Whitaker Center. It's a great success. And COVID.
Yep, exactly.
But you found something within COVID that actually, I don't want to say it was a good thing, because nobody would ever say that, but you turned it into a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good way to lead into it. Yeah. We've always been very proud of that moment, right? Which was, COVID, the world shut down.
Right.
And our mission statement is to recognize, support, and grow our local music scene. And when the world gets shut down, that means the venues get shut down, the bars get shut down, and the musicians cannot perform anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So instantaneously, I think it was right around, St. Patrick's Day, when everybody has that same memory of, what are we going to do with this? And a member of our advisory committee or board at the time, Mark Snyder, offered his home actually and said, let's start doing a live stream and let's invite local artists in, and let's do like a virtual tip jar and give them the chance to perform somewhere and open it up to the live audience and have them contribute tips, via PayPal and Venmo.
Yeah.
And we did over 100 live streams during COVID.
I watched a lot of them sitting at home with my wife.
They were great.
They were fantastic.
And the River did some too. A lot of people were doing some different things. Because we had to improvise. Right?
Yeah, we miss live music so much, and put it up. Stream it on your TV, and run it through your surround sound, and
you got it.
Yeah, it was great.
And there for a while, I think it was over 100 days in a row. We had someone every day of the week. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you name it.
Yeah.
It was like 7 o'clock every night. We had a new artist on performing original music or performing covers, showcasing their talent, and getting tips and being able to earn an income when they couldn't get into a venue. And I think we raised over $20,000 total during that time. So it was it was huge. It was really beneficial to the music scene, and I'm thankful for Mark for offering it up in the beginning there, because then we moved, outside of that to different venues, and artists were doing it out of their own house, and it really turned into something huge during that 2020 and 2021 time frame. Yeah.
And I think it also shows you too that obviously, bands, artists, there's always going to be inherently a little bit of competition.
Sure,
there,
100%.
Right?
Yep.
It just is. There's only so many venues. There's only so many places you can get booked. But when something like that happens, that it really, it obviously, not a good thing, but the good thing that came out of it, at least with the scene, was that the scene came together.
Right. We didn't have a choice,
Right.
It's
people did some stuff for free. People did, hey, I'll do, just to kind of be like, hey, we're all in this together, yeah.
And we've still tried to carry on that vibe since then, right? When we say recognize, support, and grow, I think we've kind of, that was one of the thoughts really for me to start this too, is, as you mentioned, like a competitive environment, right? I remember even being in several bands that seemed competitive. How did they get this gig? Why couldn't we have gotten this opener? Or, what are they doing differently from us? And how do we do better? And we've really tried to spread that kind of communal family vibe of support. And we've seen it, social media is bands following each other, supporting each other when you get a gig. And not to say it wasn't here beforehand, but we've certainly encouraged it, and I think it's blossomed since then.
Well, I would think just your annual event alone.
Right.
And I've talked to a number of artists who have been to your annual event. There are a lot of people that have met each other and formed connections just by going to the annual ceremony.
100%.
And instead of being like, that band, why did they? You actually you meet that person and you go, hey, you know what? They're actually pretty cool. And
right.
Yeah.
We're all people. We're all trying to do our thing. We're all trying to either have fun or make it, or make a living or whatever it is. And why not support each other, right? But you're right. The annual ceremony turns into a networking opportunity, and you realize, rightfully so, these local artists are local celebrities in their own right?
Sure.
And sometimes, you get people come up to you after a show, man, that was great. You get some positive reinforcement. But rarely you get it from the scene itself and the other musicians. But there's nothing like going to the ceremony, never meeting someone before. You follow them, they follow you. You know their face from the cover of their record, or you watched something on YouTube or whatever. But because you're a fellow musician and you're booked all the time, you can't go see all these bands all the time, right? So to encounter someone at the ceremony and go up to them and say, hey, I really love what you're doing, they're like, I didn't even know you knew me, So it's that moment of like, we know each other and we're supporting each other that really lifts the scene.
Sure. I'd never met Dr. Nice.
Yep. Good dude.
I'd never met him until, through some contacts and whatnot. He came and sat where you were sitting and did the night shift. And, we talked about how much it meant to him, to be recognized at this past year's ceremony.
That's right.
And, and he was essentially just like, for me and for my family. And it was like, like really almost a crown jewel achievement for him. Who's a guy who's a tremendous musician and deserves to be recognized, but just how much it meant to him too. And then he also talked about, getting to know other artists and getting to know other people and the event itself. So, congratulations to you for taking that risk of having that first ceremony. And now it just keeps growing and growing and growing, Yeah.
It's almost grown too big. There's so many different things going on. There's so many different ideas. There's so many different things. We have different committees now that are getting involved in and continue to grow it. But there's nothing more rewarding than seeing someone appreciate, an award at the CPMAs. It's a legitimate recognition from your peers and from the local music scene for a job well done. And the only form that existed before, might have been like Harrisburg Magazine or something. It's like best local artist. And there was like one category in there, So that was kind of it, is how can we recognize everyone for their work throughout the calendar year, because it's an annual ceremony, right? And just the response of people coming up and giving their acceptance speeches, truly like the Grammys as they're holding the award in their hand. And people have had tears in their eyes, It means that much to them because they're putting in the time and effort. And musicians, I think, naturally want to get their creativity out and share it with people, but who doesn't like to know that you're doing a good job and get recognized for it?
Sure,
Right?
absolutely. And I think that you hit the nail on the head when you said being recognized by your peers.
Right.
That means more than anything, because look, when you're 3 years old and you hit a couple of notes on a kid's xylophone, your grandma's going to clap and think it's wonderful.
That's right. Yep.
But when you actually put something out there and the people that are involved in the scene and your peers recognize you and say, you know what, hey, you're good.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it means so much.
And that's why, I always like to mention too, that's why it is not a, popularity contest or exclusively a fan vote, right? Because to your point, you can get your mom and everybody at her work to go on and vote for you 10 million times, or,
click, click,
bot
click,
vote
click,
or
click,
wonder,
click. Yeah.
And that's not the intent, right?
No.
It's not who's the most popular or who has the most fans or who can get the most votes. It's, the members of the local music scene. Fan voting is a part of it. We certainly take it into account.
Sure.
But we try to make it as legitimate as possible, so the award itself has integrity and means more than a popularity contest.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, there's a lot of awards, and there's recognition sometimes in my business, in the TV business, that it's tied into sponsorship, and quite frankly, it's a little bit of a sham, because somebody's making money based on the voting.
Right, exactly.
And that's.
And we've stuck steadfast to that. I know artists who have been nominated say, I work for this company, or my mom works for this company, and we'd like to sponsor, and I very clearly respond to every one of them. This has no bearing on being nominated or an award or whatever, because that's not the game we're playing here. We're trying to operate as much as we can with as much integrity, as I should say.
Yeah. So let's talk past, present, and future, which I know is basically the mantra of the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame. So obviously recognizing the past.
That comes in the form of the best and brightest from yesteryear, we'll say, right?
Sure.
As I mentioned, 36 current inductees over the past 6 years. We're going into our 7th year. So that includes acts like we mentioned, Poison and Live and
the
Breaking
Sharks.
Benjamin, the Sharks, that's right. I mean, you can go on the website, CPMHOF.com, and see the full list there. There's actually links you can click on each one of them as well to kind of learn more, because there's some names you might be surprised by in there. But that whole past thing is who made it from our area, who was born here, who lived here, who spent a significant amount of time, and who got inducted by our committee into our local Music Hall of Fame. And we celebrate them. We invite them to the ceremony. We've had a couple deceased inductees as well, where the family came. It's been really an awesome moment to celebrate who has made it from the past. And then, because we mix that with the present, right, our ceremony is the Hall of Fame induction ceremony and the local music awards. So when we're inducting someone, and we're at fill in the blank venue, because we've been at 3 different ones.
I think there was a little something in the.
What's that?
We haven't announced the 2026 location
That's
yet.
right. Yes, we haven't announced
fill in
that.
the blank venue.
Yes, exactly. That's correct.
Right.
And we've been at the Whitaker Center, we've been at the Hershey Theater, and we've been at
Lancaster.
American Music Theater. That's right. I couldn't think what it's called. So wherever we're at, right? Whoever is getting inducted on stage, it's a moment to inform the current scene, because all the nominees are sitting there, about the history from our area, right?
Yeah, that's
so there's
awesome.
an education moment there where like, man, I didn't know that this person was from Lancaster, and they, were on the Empire Records soundtrack, as Innocence Mission was just this last time around, or they were nominated for a Grammy or anything. There's a lot of names that are a little bit off the beaten path, that there's nothing better than the current scene learning about
Sure.
who made it previously
Yeah.
and how successful they were able to get.
And it's possible. You don't
It's
have,
possible. That's
you,
right.
you don't necessarily have to go to New York or California or
That's right.
yeah, you can make it out of here.
That's right.
So present.
Present, right? Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
bands that are current and getting nominated and
Yep.
and I know you're about also supporting the present scene as
Sure.
well.
Yeah, 100%. And that comes, at a basic level to just when someone releases a new song or a new album, we share it on our social media. If somebody gets a national opener, for example, we're sharing news of the local music scene constantly on social media. And a lot of that is stemmed from artists reaching out to us. They say, hey, here's new with me. Can you share this out to the masses? We do a podcast as well with the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. We did a local show where we featured over, 500 or 600 different artists on there now.
Yeah.
So
On the river with Glenn.
That's right, on the
Yeah.
river, 97.3.
Sundays.
Glenn Hamilton, Sunday nights at 8 p.m.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, all of that, all of these little efforts that support and inject
Yeah.
enthusiasm and motivation into the current scene
Yeah.
is how we support it right now in the present day. And it's this effort of, can we take the artists currently in this area and have them strive for something now, right? I've heard that time and time again is like, we released this album. The motivation for us to release this album is because we're going for it this year. We want to win a CPMA. We want to be up on stage. We know we have the potential. And, we did everything we could this year to fill our schedule and open up for national touring acts and, grow our social media and all the metrics we look at for awards is its motivation.
Yeah.
And it's been really rewarding seeing the current music scene grow based on what we're doing as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you've almost provided a conduit or a medium for along with what they're doing on their own to get their music branding and messaging out.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
We're there to support. That's it.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the part that I personally think is the most exciting, is the future.
The future. Yeah, the future is always the most exciting, isn't it?
Yeah. And what you guys are doing to kind of, we talk about very young.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, 100%. I mean, we when we say future, the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And the reason it has that accreditation is because our focus is in youth music education, right? So when you say, very little, I mean, we've done things like music camps where we put ukuleles and bucket drums in the hands of toddlers for the first time and just incorporate rhythms of sound, rhythms or sound or you name it. And that's exciting stuff. But when we think about the whole future, it's this whole progression, right? Is servicing the kids, inspiring them from music to maybe pick up an instrument and get started. Then once they get an instrument, then it's the support of even like a modern band, if it's keys or guitar or bass or what have you, or drums, that they're going to play in, an area band, and then build them up through that, right? Then we have our Youth Music Showcase, which is, a local talent show on steroids that shows the best and the brightest from our area. We move into the Youth All-Star Band, which is the best from there usually. Yeah. And then the goal is then they become 18 and they graduate from our youth music education program and now they're in the scene and they're eligible to win, CPMA awards.
Right.
And then they're going to continue to make it and then they're going to make it nationally and then eventually they're going to get inducted to the Hall of Fame and the cycle continues.
Yeah, well, I'll take it a step further. I'm going to make a prediction here.
I like it.
And that's that somebody is going to come out of your youth program and they're going to go to great heights and they are never going to forget where they came from.
That's
and,
right. Yep.
And, one of these days, there's going to be somebody from here that's going to be holding a Grammy.
Yep, you got it. I like it.
And they're going to thank the youth program, the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame.
Man, on stage at the Grammys, that'd be nuts.
Yeah. But look, and I'm sure this is a big part of why you're doing this is, for me, I grew up here in Central PA, and when I was in grade school in the late '70s and into the early '80s, we had music just like we had gym and art.
Right.
Okay, and we all know that because of funding, budget cuts, all that type of thing, music is not being taught in schools the way it was.
Right. Yep.
You know, I had music class when kindergarten the whole way through, like at least sixth grade, and then by
Yep.
like seventh and eighth, it was an elective.
Right, yep.
But it was,
Yep.
but it was even bigger once you got to middle school. But by
Agreed.
then it was an elective.
Right.
And that's just going away.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, and that's sad.
Yeah.
A lot of my appreciation for music started when I was in the 70s and having a music class. And I mean, they taught, you know, 1976, I can still remember Mrs. Schindler coming in and like essentially teaching us the basics of how to read music.
Yeah. 100%.
You know?
And I guarantee you probably like me started with a recorder, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
Everybody
The
plays a recorder.
And every kid was given a recorder.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know why that is? Because they're cheap.
Yeah. Well,
That's
yeah,
it.
they were plastic.
That's
Yeah.
it. They're
Yeah.
cheap and they're plastic. Because
Yeah.
even one of our things, we have an education committee, is like, you know, how can we improve that? Can we get a ukulele in the hands of kids? You
Right.
know, they're a
Stringed
little bit
instrument.
more.
Yeah,
I mean,
right,
but
yeah.
start playing a stringed instrument. You know.
Yeah.
So those are all initiatives. But yeah, I mean, it's different. It definitely is different. And
Yeah.
a lot of the artists, you know, the singers can come from chorus, obviously, which I feel like is still an active part of music education.
Sure.
But a lot of times, like you mentioned, when it gets a little bit bigger in like middle school and everything,
Yeah.
it's the you know, orchestra, stringed
Right.
instruments and things, and a big focus even of Pennsylvania Musician Education Association, the PMEA, is this modern band initiative too, and supporting that at the grade level. So we've kind of
Yeah.
worked with them hand in hand too to continue to encourage you know, a rock band, or you
Yeah.
know. Rock's an overused term, but you know what I mean.
Sure.
The core instruments of, you know, keys, guitar,
Right.
bass, drums.
Yeah.
That get featured in a band to help grow that
Yeah.
and focus on that even more so than it already is.
Yeah, look, you know, there are, without this, there are kids out there, untapped resources that, you know, you might turn on and,
Yep.
you know, look, you know, you and I are sitting here on a show that's based about, you know, local music and music in general.
Right.
You know, I think we both can agree that, you know, in a world that is as crazy as it is, man, it's like without music, you know,
Yeah.
like
Right.
that's always, you know, you're giving even young kids an escape into something.
100%.
And if you can get them to put down their phone,
Yep.
if I can get me to put down my phone,
For sure.
you know,
Yep.
I just think it's really, really important, and I commend you for what you guys are doing, man. To especially with this movement with the youth, and man, it's all about that kernel of inspiration. So thanks, man.
It is, yeah. I mean, and
Yeah.
it takes a team too. So, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, we have a very large board, advisory committee members, as I mentioned, the education committee. It's headed up by Terry Selders. They got a great group of people on the education in particular that are very devoted to
Shared vision.
helping the shared vision. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Very passionate about it, and
Yeah.
those committee calls are fun.
Yeah.
On Zoom. I've been on a couple of them, but yeah, great team, great devotion. They're inspiring. you
Yeah,
know,
a lot
so-
of people working hard with
That's right.
that same
that's right.
vision. Yeah.
So I might be, you know, the executive director and founder, but I mean, it really takes a village, and there's a lot of people just as passionate as I am
Yeah.
about it as well. Making, you know, teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah. Okay. So beyond that part of future,
Yep.
just where are we going from here?
Yeah, I mean, future of the organization is
Yeah.
always a great thing to discuss too. I mean, we're moving into our seventh year here.
Yeah.
Everything continues to grow and expand. Since year one, we've had a lot of ideas of where we could grow. A lot of those have been implemented over the years. A lot of them are still, you know, in concept and theories. We'd like to ramp up the education process, and not only just of kids, but of people in the current scene. So, you know, things maybe a symposium or a summit and learning activities of, you know, how do you beef up your social media, or how do you do TikTok best? Because those are different ways of people getting discovered now, and it's almost dominated that more so than
Yeah.
the ability of
Yeah.
you know, getting signed traditionally like it
Yeah.
was years and years ago. So a lot of focus on that in terms of current support in the scene. We always continue to do a lot. One of the things I should mention with the future portion is that Youth Music All-Star Band. We've done like a music video and a song release that we've done every year with our best teenagers from the area, right? And the first one we released was Baba O'Reilly, and we actually got a video sent in from Roger Daltrey himself,
Yeah.
also acknowledged from Pete
Yeah.
Townsend of The Who. And
Look it up. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
it's,
look it up
it's
on YouTube.
really, really cool.
Central Pennsylvania Music All-Star Band, Baba
Yeah.
O'Reilly.
Yeah.
All teenagers, all playing all of the instrumentation.
Right.
Every sound, every vocal that you hear is done by a kid. It's not a
Yeah.
backing track.
Yeah, and it really took off.
It did, yeah.
Yeah. Beyond Central Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I
it's
mean, I
cool,
think it's
yeah.
got almost 100,000 views, if
Yeah.
not more.
Yeah.
And I think Roger Daltrey sharing it and calling it out has been exponentially beneficial for that and for those kids.
Yeah.
Because really, that's also the thing with all of this is each kid gets their name out there, right? They're building their brand because they want to be career musicians, and that's one of the things even with the CPMAs too is these are resume builders, right? You mentioned like Zach Nice, Dr. Nice won a CPMA last year, and
Yeah.
we hear all the time from venues that's line one when somebody looking to book a gig and they send a electronic press kit or a
Male
gig resist,
vocalist of the year.
CPMA nominee,
Yeah,
or
right, yeah.
winner of CPMA for male vocalist of the year,
Yeah,
you name
yeah.
it. So without us creating this award show, I guess with us creating this award
Yeah.
show, it gives somebody an extra line item on their resume,
Sure.
maybe to get another gig or a bigger gig. But anyway, I'm talking in circles. But back to that whole youth focus with that music video, right?
Yeah.
We did Do They Know It's Christmas as a collab, I guess I'll say, with Joy to the Berg, great organization in our area that features local musicians as well. And then last year we did a cover of Rush's Tom Sawyer with all teenage guys as well. And then we just finished filming all-female vocalist Taylor Swift cover.
Oh, nice.
And the intent is to try to get it go viral for the
it might.
Swifties
Yeah,
and
it
get her
might.
attention.
It
So
might.
bringing it
It
back
might.
to kind of what you were saying is we're in our 7th year now, and you figure if someone graduates from our youth music program and makes it big and gets a Grammy, and if they're ready to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, you'd think you'd be pretty confident, even if they're the biggest star in the world, that they're going to come back home to acknowledge it, right? So it's that circle of this is where I came from appreciation. That if this existed when Taylor Swift was 14 or 15 and she was part of that program, she most likely would come back to acknowledge it. So it's our hope that she will still acknowledge a future induction at some point here, and we're right around the corner from that. And this video might be a tool to get her attention as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Talk about Joy to the Berg.
Yeah, Joy to the Berg, great organization. It's run by Christian Churches United, and they reached out to us as the organization to curate the music, right? So our job is to kind of reach out to the local music scene, collect either previously recorded holiday tunes. Doesn't have to necessarily be a Christmas tune. They featured Hanukkah songs on there, holiday tunes.
Right.
But yeah, we've reached out.
Spirit of the season.
Spirit of the season. That's it. Yes,
yeah.
holiday content.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really great organization and mission that they put together an annual holiday album each and every year. So, as I said, annual. But it's a great mix of genres, great mix of various artists and bands from our central Pennsylvania area.
Yeah.
And proceeds of that album help the unhoused community here now and annually. So it's an awesome
fun.
project.
I check it out every year. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
they do it concert too. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And it's just fun to, I love Christmas music, holiday music, and I pretty much flip the switch usually right around Thanksgiving, and whether it's stuff that goes back to when I was a kid or modern stuff. So it's a neat thing that you guys do, and as you said, benefits the unhoused here locally. So win-win.
Yep,
as
100%.
they say.
Yeah, and again, that's just another thing that we're dipping into, to try to help assist, to try to support the local community. And I'll let you know in on this. The biggest thing we would say for the future for the organization is the prospect of potentially expanding to the state of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
To make the Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame, to have a physical location for that. Because right now we do have a physical location for
I
the
was just going to ask you about that in Hershey.
Yep,
Yeah, right.
in Hershey. Lots of autographed memorabilia.
And it's located at Englewood.
Englewood Hershey, which if you haven't been there, fantastic restaurant, brewery.
Unbelievable,
The atmosphere there is unmatched. It's also a great music venue where they have a lot of tribute bands, local artists, as well as national acts. But yeah, we partner with them where the physical Hall of Fame for the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame which again, literally, it's a hall of fame because there's a hall there with all the
Right.
plaques in it,
Yep.
all the inductees.
Yeah.
But there's multiple rooms that you can go in and see. Heck, there's a autographed guitar from Taylor Swift there.
Right.
A lot of memorabilia from 60s on upwards on display, and it's a free walkthrough museum you can just kind of check out. So
Yeah.
if we expand to the full state,
Yeah.
at least for the Hall of Fame purposes, right? I would never impact what we've created locally here as far as the CPMAs.
Right.
But that opens up a whole new group. You think of the artists that come out of Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, right?
That's insane.
It's Philadelphia alone. I mean,
Insane.
it's just
Philadelphia alone is insane. Yeah.
Right. So,
the soul and the doo-wop.
Right,
and,
exactly,
especially,
yes. Yeah, the
Philadelphia
Motown era
blues,
and all that.
Motown.
Right,
Yeah.
not
Absolutely
to mention,
insane.
Pink and
Yeah.
Will Smith and Christina Aguilera,
Right,
Joan
right,
Jett.
right,
I mean,
yeah.
there's
You go
Hall
on
and
and
Oates.
on and on and
There's
on and
so
on.
many, so many
Yeah.
acts from outside
Yeah.
the central area.
Yeah.
But yeah, expansion's an idea too. Is then if it's Pennsylvania, then wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
If there was almost franchised out to each and every
Yeah.
state.
Right.
And kind of was the feeder program up into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Hey, look, man, you started with this vision in like 2016, 2017.
Right.
Here we sit and, hey, sky's the limit, right?
That's right.
Yeah, it all starts
is.
with a little kernel of an idea, and here we sit. So, for those that don't know, where can we find you social media wise? Where
Sure.
can we find, let everybody know?
Yeah, acronym for Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame, CPMHOF is at CPMHOF on all the social media. We post mostly on Facebook and Instagram, but we also have a TikTok page as well as a Twitter page, and the website is cpmhof.com. We're also looking at possibly moving or coupling it with CPMHOF.org in the near future as well, considering it is a nonprofit. So both of those should lead to the same exact place. But that's the best way to get all the updates. And man, our website is very robust with content too. So you could probably spend a good hour.
Yeah, you've
perusing the
developed quite a
content
following on social media,
Yeah.
and I'm impressed. And where do we find the podcast?
The podcast is on YouTube.
Okay.
But you can look up Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast.
Right.
They just wrapped up season 3 on that, and we'll be starting season 4 with interviewing members of the local scene. It's kind of like a late night talk show kind of vibe where there's guest 1, guest 2, and then a musical performance. So it's pretty cool too.
And where do we find you with the local show on the river?
Yes, local show on the river, 97.3. You can tune in either river973.com/listen. You can listen from anywhere, or obviously tune in to 97.3 FM Sunday nights at 8 o'clock, or you can listen on the iHeart podcast
Yeah.
whenever you'd like, right?
iHeartRadio app, download it. It's
That's it.
awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
There you go, Glenn. We
That's
gave a
right.
shout out to the iHeartRadio app. That was for you, buddy.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, a lot of times when we say podcasts, a lot of podcasts are everywhere. Everywhere
Yeah,
you listen
right,
to
right,
podcasts,
right,
but the
right,
iHeart
right.
stuff, you have to exclusively download
Yeah.
the iHeartRadio app
Yeah.
to listen to the podcast on the iHeartRadio.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
got it.
All right, Brandon. So we call it the Final Four. Going to put you on the hot
Okay,
seat
let's do
here. Final 4 questions that we're going to give you.
Boy, this is intense.
Oh, it is intense. And here it comes. So first question is your favorite band or artist of all time?
That's a good one. I definitely have a top 5, but if I had to pick one, I would go with the Eagles.
Wow.
And my reasoning on that is I am a huge sucker for vocal harmony.
Yeah.
And those guys do it well.
Yeah.
Like multiple
Seven Bridges
singers.
Road.
Yeah, Seven Bridges Road. You got it. Love the multiple vocalists too when they trade off. Randy Meisner and Timothy B. Schmidt doing the high stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be my answer.
Yeah, it's funny. I grew up, like I mentioned earlier, in the 70s, and my dad had the, famous, everybody had it in, 1975, Eagles' Greatest Hits.
Yep.
And
That's the blue cover with the skull on it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That thing? Yep.
massively influential to me as well. And it's so funny that you bring that up. I don't know if you do this with your kids, but by the time my kids were like 8, 9, 10 years old, we'd be driving around and an Eagles song would come on the radio, and I would say, okay, it started with "Who Is This?"
Yep, right.
And then it would be
Who's
name
singing?
the
That's
song.
right, yeah.
But then I'd start going like, once they got like the next, like the 300 level chorus was, well, what lineup is this?
Right, yeah,
And I'd be like,
exactly.
no,
Right,
it's
right,
not.
yeah.
It's Bernie Ledden.
Yeah, that's
Come
right.
on.
Yeah, right,
Get it
right.
straight.
Yeah.
This is old
Joe
55.
Walsh was in the band at this point.
Joe
Yeah, right,
Walsh
right.
was in the
Yeah.
band. Yeah. So, but it's funny. About 10 years ago, and I'm sure you've seen it, they came out with one of the great rock documentaries of all time.
Yes, yes.
2-part, The Story of the Eagles.
It is great. Yeah.
I highly recommend.
It's long, but it's great.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 5 hours long.
Yeah.
I'm breaking it in 2 parts. But both my boys watched it, and it is a tremendous sense of pride to me to this day that both of my boys have a Eagles playlist as part of like their Spotify or Apple iTunes or whatever. You know what I mean?
Love
and I'm
it.
like, I raised them right.
Love it.
Raised them right. So that's there's no wrong answer, but that was a really good answer.
Nice. All right.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the one song that you wish you would have written?
I mean, I semi call myself a songwriter. I've written I don't know 50 songs, and had some songs for different bands. But I think lyrically, a lot of people think songwriting is more lyrically and poem wise. I'm a melody guy, right? So I'm one of those people who, when I'm singing the song or humming along with it, like I don't even know the words half the time, or I'll get them wrong. The misheard lyrics kind of stuff.
Sure, right.
So my brain always kind of goes to the melody, I think, and the complexity of the song. So with that, I'd probably say another one of my favorite bands is the Beach Boys. A lot of vocal harmony there too. And Good Vibrations is on a different level with vocal harmony and the intricacies and the key changes. I don't know. I think it stimulates the senses in a complex way, similar to prog rock of Rush or something like that. So
Yeah.
I guess I would go with that. More is like when we say songwriting is the complexity of the melody, I think.
Yeah, you're also speaking to the choir. I'm a huge, massive Beach Boys guy. I have spent many a time talking about the Beach Boys, or
Nice.
talking to my friends about the Beach Boys, talking about Pet Sounds, talking about Good Vibrations. And I'm sure you know this, but at the time that song was put together, it was the most expensive.
I didn't know that. That's
Oh yeah,
interesting.
yeah. It was the most
production cost. you're
Production
saying.
cost, yeah,
Interesting,
and it
okay.
took over a year.
Wow.
To make Good Vibrations, just because of all the sounds and everything that's going on.
Yeah. And the perfectionist of
yeah,
Brian Wilson, right?
And there wouldn't be a Sgt. Pepper without Pet Sounds, and
that's
and Paul McCartney,
Yep.
was putting on his headphones and going, "What are the Beach Boys doing?
Right.
Oh my God, they're
Right.
making us look bad."
Yep.
And when Brian Wilson got inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, and obviously we just lost Brian Wilson a few months back, and so I was glad to see there were some clips of this that were going around. But the induction speech for Brian Wilson to get into the Songwriters Hall of Fame was done by Paul McCartney.
Oh wow! I didn't
Tells
know
you
that.
all you need to know.
Yeah, right. yeah, how much of an inspiration
Yeah, right.
they were for
exactly.
each other.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
I didn't know we had all this in common.
This is why we do this, right? If you could have lunch with one person, doesn't have to be from the music industry, dead or alive, who would it be?
I would have to say my grandmother.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think a lot of people go to family or someone famous.
Yeah.
For me, it would go to family. I knew her a lot. She was very influential in my life growing up. She passed away, I think, when I was around 11 or 12. And before the age of 12, I mean, we had a great relationship. But I think sitting down with a deceased family member now.
Yeah.
On how much I've changed and be able to talk about my family and things in adulthood that I wasn't at that age would be super beneficial, I think, to not only know where you come from and get to know them a little bit more than a grandmother of a 10-year-old, to appreciate your ancestry, but also learn more about her. So I think that'd be my go-to.
That's a great answer, because, and I've, some similar experiences. I think just about everybody does. But, you answer that question with your grandmother because you knew that, inherently you knew there was a lot of love there.
Sure.
And now, into adulthood, one of the things I think that's really cool about, getting older and becoming an adult, aside from like the back and the trick knee and whatever, but you gain a greater appreciation for those that came before you, especially in your family, and you just wish you could as an adult, have that conversation.
Yeah, agreed.
You know?
Agreed. Yep.
And you know, I know it was only lunch for you and your grandmother, but you know, like I went to meet my wife and kids, and
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly, right.
You know,
yeah,
so-
I mean, she passed away when I was 11 or 12, so she didn't know any of that.
A lot
you know,
of
at that point.
unfinished business.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
But you know they're watching now, so it's all
Yeah,
good.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, so last question.
All right.
Beatles or the Stones?
It's the age-old question.
Age
right?
old. It's the ultimate barstool rock. We're just kicking it around question.
Well, I have my answer,
Beatles
and I'm
guy
not
or
gonna
a Stones
change it.
guy? Yeah.
I have my answer. Not going to change it, but I'm curious. You're like what, like a dozen or so episodes in here? You asked this to everybody.
Yes.
What is the percentage answer right now?
It's running, and Jeff helped me out. I think Jeff Carley, our wonderful producer here, he would back me up. It's running about 65-35 Beatles.
Okay, if I would guess, I would have said 75-25
Yeah.
Beatles, which is my answer.
Yeah.
But they always say, however.
However, yeah.
I mean, which is why it's the age-old question. I mean,
Right.
look, to I don't know. I mean, I think Beatles 100% for me, and I've seen Ringo in concert, I've seen Paul McCartney in concert,
Yeah.
and I recently saw the Stones in concert, and they still did it well in their 70s. They were great.
Did you see the Stones last year?
Yes, last year in what was that, Philly? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there.
Were you there?
Yeah.
You know, I think I knew that because
Yeah,
Glenn was
Glenn
there.
was there,
And
yeah.
I met Glenn. We got a picture together, and I think he said like, I just got a picture with Steve or something. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny how our paths have crossed so much, and we have
Yeah.
so much in common, and we just met for the first time.
Well, but no, we met. We didn't.
That's
we,
right, you did. You
we
did
met.
say
12,
that.
we met 12 years ago.
That's right.
At the CBS 21 studios at 5:00 in the morning.
That's right.
Yeah, with
so
Mountain Road.
Mountain Road was featured on there. We opened up Marshall Tucker Band at
That's
Clipper
right.
Magazine Stadium that
That's
year.
right. That's
And,
right.
they
I don't
featured
even
us
remember
by
how that
performance.
came about. As to
That concert you're saying?
No. How you guys wound up in our studio at 5:00 in the morning at CBS 21?
It was something to do with whoever booked that whole show.
Yeah.
Like they reached out to CBS and
Yeah.
wanted to do a collab, and
Yeah.
because we were the local opener,
Right.
there was
You poor guys. Literally, you guys came in at 5:00 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
And you played.
it was wild. And I think
Yeah.
at that point it was you and Sherry Christian and Al Ganoza.
Alganoza, yeah.
And I think they said that it was the first time they had like a full band perform in there
It
or
was.
something. So
I
like,
think it's the only time we've
Really?
had Yeah, we've had Ben Gallagher a few
Okay, yeah.
times. You know what I mean? We've had some local, but
Right.
usually it's come in with an acoustic guitar.
Right, yeah, and it was a
At
four-piece
best-
band,
At
you know?
best, the drummer might be playing brushes on a snare.
Right, yep.
Yeah, but you guys came in and
yep,
yeah.
blowing it out. But yeah, it was fun, and
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I watched
Yeah.
you do the weather over the
Right,
years
right,
and
right,
stuff.
right.
But
Yeah.
but we just met at Shay's
At
final
Shay's,
show too.
Yeah, Band Who Sold the World. Yeah.
Co-MCs there, which was a fun
Yes,
time.
which was a fun time. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's Beatles
It's Beatles. Yep.
and
I know. I got to know probably 50 plus of their songs. And
Okay.
I've always followed them a lot more. And
Now, is that because you're more Ringo than Charlie, or just in general?
I would say I'm more Charlie than Ringo. I think
Okay.
I think the argument of I've heard some people say Ringo's the best timekeeper of all time because he's technical, but he's not like
Absolute
super
BS.
impressive.
I love Ringo.
Right?
Yeah.
He's great. He's
Yeah.
great. But he's not in the same ilk as far as like impressive stuff you're gonna do.
Oh, of course.
But that's because he's playing what fits the music, which is also a sign
Right.
of a great drummer, right? If you
Yeah.
get in there and you're
Yeah.
just going to blow everybody out of the water and be like,
Right.
look at me, I'm playing the drums,
Right,
that's not
right,
what it's
right,
about.
right, right.
Beatles were song heavy.
Yeah.
So I probably like Charlie more as a drummer, but
Right.
song-wise,
Harmony,
harmony,
melody.
different vocalists.
Certainly influence.
Yeah. Agreed.
Can't
And
argue
I
that.
usually gravitate towards some of the slower stuff that they do versus some of the more
Yeah.
rock stuff. So I feel like Beatles have a little bit more of a laid low vibe compared to the Stones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm a Stones guy.
Oh, yeah?
But
Okay.
it's what Jeff with Moving Audio Promotions was saying earlier is that one of the reasons I love that question, and the one we end up with is everybody usually answers. Nobody goes, oh, because come on, everybody knows whether they're a Beatles or a Stones guy. But
Sure.
then they always go, well, it's the Stones, or well, it's the Beatles, and they go,
But
however,
right.
I don't want to like, I'm not crapping
Yeah,
on
it's
the
not
other
like
bit.
Beatles are great and Stones are horrible. It's
right,
like, you know, one and one A.
If I gotta have a gun to my head, I gotta pick one. Well, Brandon, listen, man, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us. So much, exciting stuff. Again, congratulations to you. Congratulations to your whole team. Like you
Thank
said,
you. Yes,
this is a team effort.
100%. Yep.
You're the tip of the spear, but there's a lot of people and a lot of things that go into making the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame work and continue to thrive. And I know it's going to be here before we know it. We're going to be into 2026. We're going to be talking about another award ceremony.
You got it.
Your life's going to get busy again. I know that, along with
sure.
the board of directors and everybody involved. But
You got it.
thank you for taking the time and spending some time with us here. And good luck, man.
Thank you.
With everything you got going on in the
Likewise,
future.
keep up the good work with the podcast.
Yeah,
man.
thanks. It's a labor of love.
sure.
I just want to say thanks to Jeff Carley, our friends at Moving Audio Imagery, always for putting all of this together. So appreciate it, Brandon.
Absolutely.
Thanks for your time, and thanks for hanging out with us on another edition of The Night Shift. That was so much fun.
Thank you so much, man. That's
That was
great.
outstanding.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was so cool.